Got it. Winning.
Hello.
Setting up my meeting on YouTube. It's done. Redirecting. Perfect. Welcome, everyone. Can everyone hear hear my screen? Can everyone see me? See my screen and hear my voice? Yes? All right. Perfect. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Well, I want to welcome every single one that's here joining us tonight for our Bible study class and our spiritual development class. This is July 19th, Tuesday. My name is Minister Cole Totally Rad Williams. TR also stands for Terrence Randolph, but that's me. And I will be teaching from the book of Luke. We're going to be looking at Luke chapter 10, verses 38 through 46. I'm sorry, 42. Before we actually look at the text, I have a small clip that I would like to share with you, and that is going to kick us off for the evening. So sit back and relax, and small clip will get us started with helping us have a visual to our text.
Now it came to pass, as they went, that he entered into a certain village. And a certain woman named Martha received him into her house. And she had a sister called Mary, which also sat at Jesus' feet, and heard his word. But Martha was cumbered about much serving, and came to him and said, Lord, dost thou not care that my sister hath left me to serve alone? Bid her therefore that she help me. And Jesus answered and said unto her, Martha, Martha, thou art careful and troubled about many things, but one thing is needful. And Mary hath chosen that good part, which shall not be taken away from her.
All right, all right. So, this is a very short text, right? And that's why I wanted to give us a visual so that we can have free dialogue in regards to how we interpret, maybe not so much interpret, but how we sit with it for ourselves. And, you know, that's the beauty of having this class, right? Where we get to come together and say, this is how I feel about it. This is how it shows up for me. But I am going to guide us just a little bit. And, please, by all means, you know how I like to do. I like to have open dialogue. So don't feel shy about sharing. But let's go ahead and first look at the text as you can see it on the screen, reading it here. This is coming from the Inclusive Bible. And the Inclusive Bible version, as it says in verse 38, it says, as they traveled, Jesus entered a village where a woman named Martha welcomed him to her home. She had a sister named Mary who seated herself at Jesus' feet and listened to his words. Martha, who was busy with all the details of hospitality, came to Jesus and said, Rabbi, you don't care that my sister has left me all alone to do the household tasks. Tell her to help me. Jesus replied, Martha, Martha, you're anxious and upset about so many things, but only a few things are necessary, really only one. Mary has chosen the better part, and she won't be deprived of it. So the reason why I wanted us to look at the text version is because I like how at the end of the day, they are, if you're just reading it, they're using, like punctuation, the way that the sentences are structured. You can have your own interpretation of like how the tone of this, comes across. So that's, I think, the first thing that kind of stood out to me that I would like for us to talk about, right? Now, I mentioned, because I taught from this, preached from this rather, on Sunday, and I said that when I looked at another version of this scripture, I inserted where it talks about as they traveled, Jesus entered and the word certain was inserted there, because that's what I saw. And I'm going to share with you the reason why that's important, or why that could be relevant, is because it's not like they didn't know where they were going, right? And it was not almost, but I would say it was specific enough to where not only did they know exactly what village they were going to be arriving to, but where it says where a woman, the word certain was also inserted there. So that means they knew exactly who they were going to go see, right? So I didn't want us to feel like it was like they're just traveling and they stumbled on, you know what I mean? Where this person named Martha just so happened to be, and that's how that was. And so where it talks about in verse 38, Martha welcomed him into her home, that's the other aspect where it's important to know she welcomed someone who she knew, right? So Jesus is going to a specific village. He's going to a specific home to go see specific people. So I'm not sure if anyone knows as far as the relationship between Jesus, Martha, and Mary, but you may have heard of Lazarus, right? So Lazarus is the brother, the sibling of Martha and Mary. And they're, as far as a relationship, Jesus knows them, right? They're considered as friends. So going back to the idea of, being welcome, right? Jesus is like going, I would say to like his friend's house, right? So I always like to put us in the text to where we could see ourselves. If that was us, we know exactly who we're going to go see. We know exactly, as far as that dynamic in terms of relationship of being welcome, of what that should feel like. And so he was, if anything, looking forward to going to be, able to fellowship, right? To be with both Martha and Mary. Anybody have any thoughts on that? Anything jumps out on you on that? I just wanted to share there. So again, feel free to unmute yourself. All right, so it says, right, in 39, she had a sister named Mary. And so this is another aspect I just want to insert in another version of the text that said, who also seated. Okay, so in verse 39, it says she had a sister named Mary who also seated herself at Jesus's feet. So in that aspect, it gives me a visual of, as you saw in the video, you got Mary, she's walking around, but it's a, closed quarters. And not only that, they're like, within proximity of each other. So I visualized that at some point, right, Martha would have taken some time to also be in the space of where Mary is, right? Okay, so we understand that we've got people who know each other, they are friends, they like each other, love each other, and in this moment they are fellowshipping, they are having a time to where they're in proximity of each other, speaking and listening. So here you have Mary, she's in her posture, sitting down at Jesus's feet, listening to the words. And as I mentioned on Sunday, there's no way you're going to have someone that close in your house that you're not going to be, like I said, eavesdropping, having some idea of what that chatter, you could be in the kitchen and they're in the living room. You still, like, if you're, if they're a part of the visit, right? Somebody comes over to your house, it's everybody. Everybody's included in the conversation. So that's where I wanted to set up this scene, to see that Martha is also in hearing distance of what Jesus and Mary are talking about. Okay, so now we get into that aspect of, like I said, going into like the tone here, right? So I don't know about you, but we're saying like, Martha, she's busy, right? If we just keep it, very vanilla, like to hear that word busy, you may come up with imagery of like busy. Like I'm moving around. I gotta go. I'm busy, right? Somebody's like, well, what do you know? I'm busy, right? Usually, I can't get distracted. I can't talk right now. Hey, Cole, what is it? I'm busy. You know what I mean? So busy for me would then, interpret as if that person's not really, they're there, but they're not really there, right? And so it's the way that this is, set up for us is that the language is in that word busy. She's focused. Okay, now doesn't necessarily mean it's negative, but she's focused on, as it says, the details, right? And for her, these details are hospitality. Now, let's also talk about this. I don't know about you, but I was, as I can remember growing up, Mama said she'll give you a call. So and so is coming over. Now your house could have looked like whatever all week. And when she says so-and-so is coming over, you don't really necessarily know what that entails, but like the parts where so-and-so may be at, that needs to look presentable, okay? That needs to be, cleaned up. So at the end of the day, this idea of hospitality is not something that's so far-fetched that we want to be like beating up Martha, like, come on, she's like, she ain't got a clue of what's going on. She's doing what's custom, right? What's customary. Somebody, you got a visitor that's coming over. You want to, tend to the things to make them comfortable and, to be hospitable, okay? Anybody have anything you want to touch on that? So, nope. All right, no problem.
Yes.
Okay, sure. Go ahead, Deacon.
So if it's a friend, you come into my house, house ain't, like right now, you don't want to come to my house. Everything is disarrayed because of the freezer.
Uh-huh.
But I'd still welcome you in because you're my friend. And in my heart, I know that you would understand what we're dealing with and why everything is rearranged. And that's how we look at it.
Right.
He's not a stranger, he is my friend. So come on in.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. Duly noted in that aspect. I wholeheartedly get you there. So then just looking at the aspect of where Martha is, what she's focused on, right? She, for her, is finding that is important to her, okay? And she's holding that in high regard because of who it is, okay? And so then in this focus mode that she's got, she's like, okay, wait a minute, right? She's like, listen, I'm looking to my left and we got my sister over there, Mary. And Mary seems to just not be doing what I'm doing, okay? My focus is this, and Mary's focus, she is tuned in now to Mary and noticing that Mary's focus is different, okay? All right, so now she wants to go to the level and speak up for herself, right? That's fine, because again, these people know each other, they're friends, and so she calls to Jesus. She says, hey, then she's going to pose the question to him. Don't you care that this is what's going on? That she's left me alone. Now, I don't know about you, but maybe somebody can hear it in a different tone. But I like the way for me that I find that as I, wanted to pick this apart, which I do normally, and that there's just all these different tones, right, that I could get from just reading it, right? And so I'm like, now Martha is focused on Mary, and then she wants to call out Jesus and want Jesus to, like Jesus is Mary's parent. You know what I mean? Get her to do something, that type of thing. Because she says, and you can see the exclamation point, tell her to help me, right? Now, just reading that, how would you interpret that? Would you interpret it like, Jesus, you see what Mary's doing, not to tell her to help me? How would you interpret that?
She's whining.
She's whining. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's whining.
She's whining. She's a victim.
Yeah, I said, poor me.
Yeah, poor me. That's how I took it, Trusty.
Everything you doing. Why don't you tell her to help me?
Yeah. She probably was giving Mary all the
Yeah, she's kind of worn out.
She's like, pushing things down. Don't you see,
Yeah.
And Mary's just like, nope. So now she's victim mode, perhaps.
Yeah.
All right. I saw that too, Trusty Marley. Okay. So here's now the other aspect of Jesus' reply, and again, looking at it from a tone aspect of the exclamation point, right? Because
Right.
then you reading that, you can be like, is he screaming? Is he yelling like, look, Martha, Martha, you know?
Martha,
Or he could be like, come
trying to
on
calm
now,
her
Martha.
down.
Yeah, go ahead, Trusty, what'd you say?
He's trying to calm her down.
Trying to calm her
Martha,
down.
Martha, like,
Yeah.
come
Okay.
on. It's not all that now.
It's
Come
not all that. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
on down. You're getting
Yeah.
all
And
upset about nothing.
all about nothing. And
Right,
he
right, right.
right, that's so good. And he continues to explain why, Trusty, is
Yeah,
about nothing, right?
right,
He
right,
says, look, you're all upset about so many things. You're anxious. You got your pressure up.
right. There's only a few things that are important. In
Hmm.
fact, there's only one. Now that's an interesting statement. What do you mean? You know,
Yep. What could he mean? So we're going to talk about, but I want to hear from my deacons, man. Come on. Deacons, talk to me. Anything, particularly Fletch.
Oh, okay. I'm off the hook. Okay.
Yeah, I know what you got going on over there, Deacon.
You rang.
I want the other deacon that's not making steaks and salmon to chime in. Come on now.
Uh, well,
really only one.
Martha was, yeah, she was like, hey, I got all this work to do. I need some help here.
Mhm.
But my take on it is if Martha was paying attention to what she was doing and what she was good at, which was hosting and making sure everybody was comfortable and had everything they need, she wouldn't be worried about what Mary was doing because Mary had her own mission and job to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was doing her part. And how I relate to that is, even though we might have the same subject, but we have all different assignments. You know what I mean? We
Okay.
all have the same subject or the same project to do.
Mm-hmm.
But all of these intricate parts make the project whole.
Right.
So I believe Rev spoke, or Reverend Tucker spoke on that, like you said a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we all have the same job, but different assignments. You have a part, I have a part,
Mm-hmm.
Marley has a part,
Right.
Rev and Deacon Lynn has a part. So
Yeah.
even though complaining and was like almost to say, Jesus, tell her to help me do this work. That wasn't Mary's assignment.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So that's my take on it.
Yeah, I like your take on it. I appreciate the feedback. And if I can just, if you don't mind going, I want to like to make sure that I understand too, because you were saying like what you hear is like Martha pretty much should have just focused on Martha.
Yeah.
Stayed in her lane a little bit.
Because her assignment was different from Mary's.
Okay.
She was good at hosting and making sure everybody was comfortable and had what they need. Mary was on a different assignment. Same job, different assignments, which made it all whole.
Gotcha. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that.
And my take is the focus.
Mm-hmm.
So you came. Now, I'm not sure if they knew he was coming or if he just kind of like showed up, but either way,
Mm-hmm.
he came. Okay. In our house, we just share the responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, often I'm in the kitchen, but Rev's in the kitchen too. And we would trade off. So it wouldn't be, oh, you just out there doing this and I'm just in here doing that.
Right.
Because it's Jesus in my house, right?
Yeah.
I want to partake in that too, but I also want to make sure that Jesus has a meal and some water and something to drink, you know? So I do this part, you do that part, and then we both get to partake and sit at his feet.
Gotcha.
So that is not all, but if your focus is only on the hospitality part, the busy part of hospitality, the preparing part of hospitality, and not being hospitable to the person that's in your house, that's not right. You know, you're here, so I'm at least gonna come out. My hellos, how are you? Get my hug, yada yada. I'm gonna go grab you something to drink, yada yada yada. But I'm not gonna be all about the busy and not about the person. That's my take on it.
Okay, okay. I appreciate that so very much. All right, so
Now,
then, oh, go ahead,
I
President.
hear,
I'm sorry.
I hear Jesus saying, what, what, what Martha seems to be thinking is that she's not helping do all the different things that she needs to do or that she has on her list
Hmm.
in terms of preparing food, putting things, that what Mary's doing is not a job. It's like Martha's treating what Mary's doing as nothing, like she's
Hmm.
not helping. She's just sitting doing nothing.
Hmm.
And Jesus is saying there are a lot of different things, but there is one thing that she's doing that is it's like one part of the job, what she chose the better part, which is to sit and listen and entertain and
Yeah,
what Deacon what Deacon Mickey was what Deacon Mickey was saying,
Yeah.
focusing on the attention, given the guest attention, sitting
Hmm.
yes.
giving the guest attention and listening, and that's a job too. That's what Jesus is saying. It's not like she's idle, not doing anything. She's got a part. She picked the better part, which is to sit with me.
And so let me ask you this real quick. I got you, Deacon. 1 second. So are we coming from which it is straight bullseye, where it says she's asking him to have her help her with the household tasks, right?
Right.
So for us, that's where we're like, look, you do your part, focus on that, and what she's doing is what she's doing, right? Because
Right.
Martha is like, it sounds like wants her to do what she's doing, right? Is that what
Yeah.
I'm hearing? Okay.
Right.
Yes.
It's
Just want
like
to make
she
sure we
doesn't
tracking.
think
We
that
all
Mary
tracking.
is doing anything.
All right, cool. Thanks. Go ahead,
Not
Deacon.
recognizing her
Uh,
to be doing
Excuse me.
anything.
this could probably be a sermon, but it's not what it looks like.
Yeah,
It to
that'll preach, Fletch. It's not what it looks like. That'll preach.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said it could probably be a sermon.
Yeah.
Oh, but it's not what it looks like. Martha's interpretation is, man, I'm doing all the work, and Mary's just sitting at Jesus' feet.
Right.
But it might not be what it looks like. It is not what it looks like.
Right.
Mary, again, they had another assignment. She had a part of the assignment. Mary had the other part of the assignment. And together it was whole. But just because I may not understand why you doing this and I got this, it's not for me. I'm just supposed to, again, the magic word is focus on what I'm supposed to be doing. And, we always hear that focus on what you're supposed to do and God will take care of the rest.
Stay in your lane. Right.
All right,
Yeah.
Deacon, you look like in your face you got something else to say, so I didn't want to pass you before I go forward.
No, you can go forward. I'm
Okay.
good. I'm
All
good.
right. Go ahead, Deacon. You still talking or you good?
I'm finished.
Okay, no worries. Cool. So I love it. So let me ask you this. I guess it will be kind of like a curveball. Only because in the video, that's why I wanted to give us a video too. Um, did you notice Martha's reaction to Jesus and the way that Jesus spoke to her? Because Trusty Marley said, sounds like he's like, just trying to explain to her. It's not like, screaming at her or anything like that. He's just trying to, help her understand, like, look, this is look at you, Martha, like, you're anxious, you're upset about so many things, but there's, he's helping her, like, calm down if she's excited. I don't like using the word calm down only because it's like just because they put an exclamation point doesn't mean she was like and that video didn't make her appear that way either. She looked like she was just going about and was just talking to a friend, right? So I guess I wanted us to kind of bounce and play with that. Like, is she playing the victim or is she being victimized by like how, they do these exclamations and all that? Because we're like, looking at it like, she's like, well, won't you just tell her, just, do the household chores like I'm doing type of thing. You know what I mean? Like, let's also be able to kind of grapple with that. But I digress. How do you think she had reason within herself from what he said? How do you think she responded? Because that's why I started out with saying in the beginning, they're friends. Jesus loves these people. Remember the story about Lazarus, right? He went to their home specifically, okay? Certain village, certain house, So how do you think that she felt possibly when he's saying like, I get it. This is what he's like basically acknowledging her feelings, but he's telling her, you're focused on the wrong thing. Like everybody's been saying consensusly wise. And here Mary has chosen the the better part of focus, of what to focus on. How do you think she may have responded to that?
Well, I think understood.
Say it
Because
again.
I think she might have understood because
Okay.
Jesus put another spin on what she had been feeling. Jesus acknowledged that I understand these are your feelings.
Right.
He also said your point is valid as well. So I think she might have taken it to like, oh, I understand. Because sometimes, you can say something to somebody one way and they feel some kind of way about it. But if another person says the same thing and maybe uses different words, keywords, they understand it a little better.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Absolutely. Yep. And that's like how you said, different parts, all connected, different ways that it gets the job done. So thank you for that, Deacon. I appreciate it. Deacon, I was hearing you saying something.
Yeah. Now, if it was me, because I
Mm-hmm.
have conversations with this totally radical person, and I'm be anxious and stuff. But in what Jesus says, he says you're anxious and upset about so many things.
Yeah.
That would cause me to take a pause.
Gotcha.
Whoa, am I am I really out of my zone? Am I out of my element? Do I really just need to take a couple of breaths and calm down and not be so anxious? Because like you said, this is a friend.
Right. Yes.
So why am I acting like this is a total stranger or somebody has come, and if I don't get this done, I'm gonna get some type of reprimand? It's not like that. This is our friend, not just Mary's.
Yeah.
It's my friend too. So because Jesus didn't say you just upset about the household chores. He says so many things like,
that's good, Deacon.
What is causing me to really act like this? See, that's what I would do. Because, like I said, I talked to this person that makes me think like that. And it's like, it's really not that serious,
Awesome.
And so I would take it as a wake-up call. I need to check myself. Don't nobody else need to check me. I need to check myself.
Got you. I love that. Because this is taking me, for me, how I had to sit with it in that aspect about, like you said, upset about like the wording, the verbiage is guiding us, guys. I hope you can see that, okay? Because the upset aspect, think about yourself. What takes you to get upset? What could you be getting upset about? And even if you are upset, at the end of the day, if your friend brings to your attention that they acknowledge that you are upset and anxious, what does that represent? Right? Like, state of being overall is not to walk around in life anxious and upset.
Right.
Okay? So then it's like, now they're trying to help us, reframe ourselves, recalibrate, if you will, get back to center. And I feel like that's love. I feel like that is somebody who really freaking loves me that's going to tell it like a T.I. is to help me see that, like Deacon said, maybe it's not that deep, you know, maybe it's not that serious. And whatever it is, it's got me scattered. Okay, it's got me off balance. It's got me in a way that I'm not where I really should be. And then that friend further points me in the direction of showing me what someone who's not anxious and upset looks like, which is right here in front of you, Mary. Okay, your sister, right? And he's acknowledging, I get it. Household hospitality, that's like, okay, your thing. But he says to her, Mary has chosen a better part, the better part, right? And he says she won't be deprived. Now that was to me a correction. I'm just being messy, but
Now, is
that's
that
like
really
he's like,
necessary?
and she won't be deprived. Okay, that's
You
just
really need to say that too.
what'd you say, Trusty?
It's almost like, did you really need to say that, Jesus?
The extra, right? Yeah.
You really need to say that part.
How would you guys say that? Okay, so thank you all for that. I really appreciate it. That's how I know, like, man, we are so connected. Go ahead, Trusty Marley. I didn't want to cut you.
Minister, as I was reading it again as you were talking and different, I'm wondering if what Jesus is also meaning is that those things, the household tasks,
Mm-hmm.
all those things that you're fretting about,
Mm-hmm.
are they really necessary?
Right.
It's like there's very few things. It's like he's saying there's really not a lot that you need to be worrying about doing.
Yes.
Really, there's only a few things. In fact, there's only one thing, me.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm here, okay? Come on.
You should be sitting here with Mary.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
this is where you're supposed to be. Never mind worrying about household tasks.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
She's raising the physical hand. Go ahead, take it. I love you, man.
The you have mentioned these exclamation points
Right.
several times.
Mm-hmm.
Now, somebody is anxious, somebody is upset.
Mm-hmm.
Hey Mary. Does that get their attention?
No.
Hey
not,
Martha.
It depends. I'm
Right.
be 100, but yeah, I hear you.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So no, Jesus is not yelling, but he's saying, stop,
Right.
calm down.
Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah.
You need to stop right now.
That's good.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
That so I don't take the exclamation point as a scream or a yell or a reprimand. It's stop.
Right.
You need to stop, stand still, take a breath.
That's good. That's
and this is why. And see, I only know because I've been Martha. So I know, and sometimes, you say something, it's like, yeah, whatever. And I'm still going on and on and on. And you'll say, Lynn, come on now.
Yeah.
Come here.
Yeah.
Let me give you a hug. Let's talk about something else. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But you just say, Lynn done gone on about her business.
Right,
Lynn think about it because Lynn's still in her head.
Mm-hmm.
In order for Jesus to get in her head, that's what the emphasis is. It's not out of anger, it's out of love.
Yep. That's good.
And that's how I look at it. Only
I'm with you on
because
that.
I have been Martha.
Yeah.
And people have had to do that to reel me back in to reality. Mm-hmm. And then the last part of it, it is said, it's done, it's not open for discussion. So now at this point, you can do whatever it is you need to do, but Mary's going to stay here. And I would like if you would join me, but if not, that's your choice.
Come on.
Mary is here and Mary ain't leaving. Drop the mic and move on.
Yeah. That's it. That's all.
That's it. That's all.
I love it. Oh my God. This is so good. I love it. all of what you said is 100% true. Goes back to the love. How you feel about
The
that?
love. It's all about
It's all about the love.
And see what's important in this. These are friends. This is family.
Right.
These are people that know each other, depend on each other, yada, yada, yada. So it's not like it's some stranger just coming up. This is love.
Yeah.
Because if you don't care, you just let her go on rant and rave, and I'm still gonna have my conversation with Mary, and I'm not gonna pay you no mind, and I'm gonna leave you in that state.
Right. Yeah.
Which I wouldn't, and she cooking my food. But anyway, yeah, you know, you don't leave them where they are when you know that they're in a bad place. But that's love, that's caring, that's compassion, and that's who Jesus was.
Yeah.
So I don't take the exclamation points as a bad thing. It was a necessary thing to get her back, to bring her back so that she could listen. Yeah.
That's good.
All right.
Also, Minister,
Yes, Deacon.
basically, Jesus got room and time for everybody.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't matter. God made room for everybody. Jesus made room for everybody. So, and being excited, she just wanted to go to the front of the line. Where she could have just sat back, because again, Jesus has time for everybody to hear everybody and to talk with everybody on whatever level they're at. First, she wanted to hurry up and get her work done so she could be number one. But but God already had made the time. If she had just waited and did whatever she was supposed to do and stepped right in, and she could have been chopping it up or talking whatever she wanted to talk about with Jesus. Remember, Jesus traveled a lot with his disciples and sat at different areas, and he talked to a multitude of people.
Yeah, he did.
Well, we're here, but
Deacon.
You cutting out, brother. I said you were cutting in and out, man.
Oh, I'm sorry. Basically, as God was going through different areas, he had time to stop and talk to the people. Everybody.
Right.
Because, basically everybody's sitting down and I'm still doing work. So hurry up.
I hear you.
Sit down on something.
Can't hear you, Deacon.
Okay. Yeah, you were going out a little bit, but I heard you for the most part. I appreciate that. So yeah, listen, I appreciate everybody's takeaways. I know we're getting closer to the end of class today. One of the things that I think for me that I wanted to emphasize, even from on Sunday, was that we get to see ourselves as both Mary and Martha, okay? And that all people, have these emotions, these feelings, these characteristics, these behaviors, right? And, being with someone that you love, you want to spend time with, whether it is that you want to make sure they're comfortable and do all the things that you think is important, and you didn't get in your feelings that, somebody else isn't doing their share of it, or you're just tuned out because you're like, this is the most important, and you have an awareness of that is what it is because of, is not, I don't know why Barry White just came into my mind, but R.I.P. Barry White, I guess. But it's Jesus, okay? It's the King of Kings, Lord of Lords, right? And like Deacon Fletch said, Jesus talked to the multitude, right? He made time for everybody. And so I believe that Mary was clear about who Jesus was in that aspect. She had just a little bit of an extra, if you will. And no discredit to her sister, no, as they say, shade. But I mean, it's worth acknowledging because we see that also in some people where maybe in school coming up, it was like, man, how is it that, certain people are labeled as, the nerds or, you know what I mean? Like the bookworms or whatever. It's just they have a different perspective of what's important to where they may have in terms of like a bigger, broader picture of life of what's going to get them ahead. I'm just maybe stretching on that one, but I'm just saying like give credit, to where credit is due, and that's where Mary had just a different level of awareness. It's a thing. Long story short. So I wanted to encourage us to also take on that because, again, going back to if you think about it, where we've been thus far in this ministry since I think maybe even before Rev preached on July 3rd. It goes back to our guest preacher, which was Reverend Offer. And Fletch could talk to this. Reverend Offer had talked about, recognizing what season that you're in, right? And he talked about, being that tree that's planted, right? And knowing that, you ain't the only tree in the forest, right? It's just everything we always talk about and reaffirms me because we are all in alignment in that aspect. But, being willing to sit in your season, to sit right where you are. And so here comes Rev, the following week and talking about not going from house to house, you know what I'm saying? And being, how important it is to sit and do your part and to just focus on prayer, to pray and to bless, right? And then we had our brother, Reverend Devon, to come, and he talked about acknowledging your boldness and, who you are and who God made you and how you're not limited and to go beyond your limitations. So all I'm saying is I hope that in this text is very brief. If we tap into that other mindset that maybe what Mary was, demonstrating here is that there's that freedom, there's that liberation that is really just that simple, but also so powerful, is that we get to sit at the feet of Jesus. Where at the feet of Jesus, we are going to tap into knowing that we're not limited, right? Knowing what our purpose is and our season is in life, and how what's important is to keep our eyes on Jesus so that we could pray not just for ourselves but for others, like Deacon talked about, right? In that scripture, love one another. When she said Tuesday, who's your neighbor, right? Are you going to take care of that neighbor? Are you going to sacrifice to that neighbor, right? No matter what the cost. You're going to do all those things for that neighbor just as much as you need to do it for yourself. So that's the stretch I think that we're in this overall season of where we are for our church. In my heart, I believe that. And I think this is a good example of that. So any takeaways that you guys have, we've really been talking about them. I encourage you to share them. That was also my ask of us on Sunday, is like to start just going a little bit further and sharing with what's going on with you and the way that you're sitting at the feet of Jesus, what's showing up, that you're being intentional about what you're focused on, and how that can really bless someone else, right? And if you need to be like Jesus and get someone's attention, like Deacon said, hey, I know you got, you're focused on all this stuff and you're even upset and anxious about it, but listen, there's really only, one thing that's important that you got to focus on, right? And so be that voice that's going to be a friend and help them get, back to center, and help them see what's important for them to really focus on. And so that part about not being deprived, right? Don't deprive, like she said, it's like, that's it, Don't deprive yourself, and don't let them deprive themselves of it either. So I had another slide. It's really like the question slide, but a lot of this we've already done, and I wanted to just go with the flow on that. So I'm going to skip ahead to our closing.
Well, like
Be affirmed.
Reverend Offer said, will not be moved. That's what Mary said. I will not be moved.
Oh, that's what you're saying.
That
Mary
was
is saying here.
Reverend Offer's message. Part of his message was, I will not be moved.
Will not be moved. Okay, and I just want to make sure I was understanding. You were saying Mary's saying that too by just
by just sitting there. She didn't,
right.
She didn't say much, but that was her attitude.
Yeah, like a civil rights movement.
I'm sitting right here.
So no, I got you. We would
She
not
didn't
be
have
fooled.
to. She had the best backup in the world. I ain't got to
Sure
stay
did. She didn't have
let
to say
it
a
off.
word. Yeah.
She
Jesus,
ain't have to, right?
Jesus
That
got my
is,
back. I'm just gonna sit here and let him take the lead,
And didn't he though? Didn't he?
right.
didn't he?
That's
Jesus
what he
said,
did.
nope, she will not
And
be
but
moved.
that's a lesson too.
So many lessons, right? Come on.
Sometimes you don't have to say anything. Just stand your ground and hold
Right.
your
Right.
peace.
Yeah.
Right.
Hold your
Yeah.
peace.
Yeah.
She didn't argue with her sister. She didn't say, as somewhere in words said, he didn't
She
say
sure,
an uttering
sure
word
didn't. She sure didn't. That's the
because she
truth right
didn't
there.
have to.
No.
She knew Jesus had it.
Right,
She
right.
didn't have to step in.
I'm
And
coming, Happy. I'm
sometimes
coming.
we have to take that same position. I know Jesus got this. I'm just going
Right.
to
My
sit
mouth
here
shut.
and wait.
Right.
Listen and
There's
bless it.
nothing I can do about this situation. There's nothing I want to do about this situation. This situation is beyond me. I'm just going to sit here, hold my peace, and let Jesus do his thing. And it's that simple, but it's a hard thing when you're in the midst of that battle or whatever. And you have to remember, for who we are and we're helping other people, we have to understand that. And so we have to add them exclamation points. Hold up, wait. And be steadfast about what we're doing. But then at the same time, be there for them. We just don't leave them in that state, leave them hanging. We're there for when they have the questions, when they calm down, when they need somebody to talk to.
Yes.
When they finally decide to let it go and, the tears of Jordan just flood overtakes.
Tears of joy.
We still have to be there, but know that. We some jobs we start and finish. Some jobs we start. Some jobs we just finish. And you just gotta hold your peace and say, Jesus, you got me and you got them. Show me the way. And I'll just sit here and really sit. That's where we mess up. We put our hands in.
All right.
Go ahead.
Deacon preaching.
Doors
She
of the church now
done
open.
took off. She did a flojo on us.
The doors of the church are open.
Come on now, say it again, D. I love it. I love it.
It was all in me.
Listen, folks on YouTube, we got that's Deacon Lynn, okay? Just so y'all know, come check her out. Unity Fellowship Church, Columbia, out Towson, 120 Allegheny Avenue. That's Deacon Lynn. She telling it like it all the way is. We love it. This has been a rich class.
Yes.
Deb Dunn, who we love so very much, she was able to check it out. She also commented on YouTube that it was a great class, great discussion. So we shout out to Deb Dunn, member of the church of the fold. We love you very much. We always lift you up in prayer. Everyone, as far as
emeritus.
What did you say, Trustee?
She's trustee emeritus.
Trustee emeritus, yes indeed. All right, so I think, Rev, you're still there. Did you want to have any final words? I'm going to turn it over to you because we are at the end of our class.
Yes, I am still here. It was a great class. What I saw was an internal expression of hospitality and love that came from Mary as she sat there with Jesus. And then you had Martha with the external expression of hospitality.
I like that.
And so a lot of times people are more in touch with their internal as they get closer and closer to Jesus, as they get closer and closer to God. And so what God is saying is, letting what's on the inside of you exude out so that others can receive. And so that's what Mary was doing as she sat there, just taking it all in, knowing that, what's on the inside of her was just growing and growing and growing. And Martha was just, she thought she was doing a good thing. And it was a good thing. Yeah. Because it's always good to be hospitable to, your house guests and, make sure they have what it is they need. Yeah. But you also have to remember that spiritual side. Are they really getting everything that they need? They may need your attention. They may not need you to be busy doing this or doing that. They could be suffering in silence, which a lot of, our people do. They suffer in silence because we're so busy on our comings and goings, and we don't use what's inside of us, that light that God has placed there, in order to see the needs of somebody else.
Yes, yes.
And so we have to allow our inside to exude out, so that exudes out. And it's the better part, because that part fulfills the needs of so many people.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we miss that because we're trying to give them physical things versus spiritual things.
Come on, Ray.
What's inside of you. And it doesn't have to come off as, this is a God thing, The Bible says this. It doesn't have to come off as that. Sometimes it's just showing love.
Yes.
Because remember, God is love.
Yeah, that part.
And love is for everyone.
Yes.
And so.
Is that another drop the mic you about to do?
Yes.
Well, Jesus said all that.
I'm learning.
It's not necessary.
She come with the heat and
necessary.
Done.
Yeah, he said it's not, all that is not necessary.
Awesome lesson, Minister.
Thank you so much, and thank you for that awesome wrap up. Good grief. Y'all just blowing me away. This is all kind of meat. I hope you're going to be eating for the rest of the week on this good stuff. And the best part is something you can play over again, okay? Because it's right here on YouTube, recorded for us. So, family, we're going to go ahead and close out. Again, friends and family, thank you for watching. We pray that you are encouraged and affirmed. And we're just going to close out in prayer. Mother, Father, everything, God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for such a rich and powerful lesson that you were able to just, download to us, God, what it is that you wanted us to be able to receive. And we received it, and we were able to share it back and forth with one another, God. And so, God, it's just been a blessing to be able to fellowship, God. It's been a blessing, oh God, to just be able to see how the internal is just as important as the external, but the internal is what's even more so important in terms of the richness and how we can be used in this world to meet the needs of others as you called us to do. So, God, we just pray right now that you will just continue to bless every single person that's here, whether they're on the actual Zoom or just seeing us out there in the world on YouTube or any other space, oh God. Where you right now just speak life, love, health, prosperity, oh God, all into their atmosphere, God. And God, continue to watch over them, protect them, and keep them. In all things we pray as we say, Ashe, Amen, and so it is. Family, you have a great night. I love you.
Thank you, Minister.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Awesome lesson.
It was great.
This was good. This was really good.